All right, so why don't we take you on then to 14 to 10?
You're gonna have a field day with this section. This might be. I think this is the section where I have the hottest takes.
All right.
All right, 14 for me. I've gone Pedro Vite.
Okay.
13 for me. This is a fun one. I think this is the one you'll probably get most frustrated with. Lucas Caligari
You
at
didn't even know
12.
who that was three
And
weeks
now I
ago.
do. And
Are
I'm
you
all aboard
kidding?
the Lucas Caligari
Oh
train.
my goodness.
At 12, I've gone Jack McGlynn. And at 11, I've gone Juan Mosqueda.
Give me 10.
And 10, I've gone Facundo Farias.
I left Caligari off my list out of respect for you, not to have to be like, who'd you put on that list?
I know
Oh,
him now.
that's brutal. I probably would have put him in this section too if I wasn't trying to be nice to you. So
I'll start off with Pedro Vite. I think he had a pretty solid season for Vancouver this year. I think in terms of current ability, he's one of the better players on this list. But considering he is 21, not to say that his potential is bad, but I think comparatively on the list, there's less time to grow into potential compared to some of the guys who are like 18, 19. So for me, he was a little bit lower on the potential ranking. So it kind of evened out to him being about middle of the pack. Caligari, I was very surprised that he was not involved in the 22 under 22 list. Uh, I mean, he was a consistent starter for one of the better Brazilian teams by the time he was 17 years old. That in itself is going to garner massive potential. I don't think he really hit the ground running in his first season with LA, but I definitely don't want to put too much focus on that because that LA team just got decimated by injuries and the quality of center back he had to play with in the back line, I definitely think did not help the case. So I think that it's worth giving him the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. I think he had some of the highest amount of minutes played at a top flight, and it's in two. It was in a very good league before he came to MLS, playing in the Brazilian top division, and he came in and was instantly like in a pretty consistent starter for the Galaxy. And I think with a healthy Galaxy team next year, I think he takes a big step forward into improving his game within MLS. So I think he was a strong player in terms of current ability, not as high in terms of potential just because he is 21 already. Jack McGlynn, I think you kind of hit on a lot of things with Jack McGlynn. I was pretty happy to see that you had dropped him down the list as well. I thought 7 was definitely too high for him also. Uh,
man, you gotta get tougher. That's all I'm saying.
I know. um, but yeah, I think he's trending in the right direction to get more consistent game time in a very good system. And I think that will help a lot in terms of him like moving up the list. But I think throughout the season, he was still mainly a squad player. I think he got more starts this season than he did the previous season. And that's definitely a trend in the right direction. And I think he could definitely slot in and take that Ali Bedoya spot in the midfield. But I don't think he had across the season enough consistent starting time that I could feel comfortable putting him top 10 in the 2222. I think he's still got good potential. I think I ranked him 10th in potential, but I think current ability wise, he was a little bit lower. So it dropped him just a little bit from where I had him in potential ability. Juan Mosquera, I know you put him, I think, as an honorable mention. For me, I think the biggest thing was that he just has so many minutes played already at a top level, 6,100 minutes just about at 21. I mean, compared to a lot of guys on this list, that's a lot of minutes at the top flight. And I mean, you don't get those minutes if you're not playing well enough. I don't think he had the best season for Portland coming in, but still managed to get 2,300 minutes, uh, which was, I think, maybe top five on the list for 2023 minutes for me. Uh, I think it's probably a similar situation to Lucas Caligari. I think next
What, in that
season,
you figured out who he was 3 weeks ago?
maybe a little bit before that point. I think I saw his name in Football Manager, and that's how I learned about him.
I love that.
But I think that it really helped, in my opinion, in his ranking that he had so much experience already at 21. And then Facundo Farias, maybe this is just a benefit of the Messi effect or something, but 5 goals in 746 minutes, I think, is a really good return. Very excited to see what he can do in a full season next year with that Inter Miami team. I think that attack is going to be deadly, and I think he can definitely play a good part in it. And he's also got about 4,200 minutes at top flight experience in his career, so he's experienced. He's played well in the small sample size he has in MLS so far. His age dropped him a little bit in the current in the potential ability rankings for me, but I think current ability rankings he was pretty high up for me. I think he was top 10.
Okay. Um, yeah, listen, I'm not going to shy away from it. I was an attacker snob for most of this list. So like I've got a few DMs. Um I've got one center back, but one goalkeeper. But I mean, this is all about who the exciting attackers are. So where if I were to include him and Caligari, it'd probably be in the 19 to 15 range. But I wasn't bumped. All right, here's what I'll do. I'll bump Cade Cowell, get him off my list completely, and I'll
Looking
and
for
I'll put
any
in.
reason to bump him off one too.
Yeah, I'll bump Cade Cowell, and I'll put in Mascara at 22. That make you happy?
It makes me happier than you can imagine.
Good, because now I need to tell you why you're dumb. You made Daniel Edelman, who I have at 14 in my list, an honorable mention. How dare you disrespect the U20 captain? Put some respect on his name. I have Dylan Barrero at 13. I got Jalen Neal at 12. You made Ted Pietro an honorable mention, who I have at 11, and Tyus Magno at 10. So let's start talking about the absolute snubs from your list. Daniel Edelman's true ability of being a ball-winning center mid was highlighted really, really well in this Red Bull system. He did really, really. He was very successful in what he did, but lost in what that is his unbelievable ability to set tempo, pick good passes, and get himself a few attacking chances as well. In a system that was go, 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 Edelman was phenomenal at putting his foot on the ball and saying, hey, let's slow this down for a second and keep the ball a little bit. Without Edelman, this team is nowhere near the playoffs right now. It is disrespectful. It is a nod to your lack of ball knowledge that he's not on this list.
I think you have Red Bull tinted glasses.
I think you don't know ball. Anyways, Dylan Barrero, agree with you about his lack of minutes and things like that. But I only have him this low because of his season-ending injury 8 games into the season. If he played the full season, I think he's probably top 5, if not top 2 or 3. One of the most impactful players in the New England team, lightning quick pace, very good on the ball. We hope that he recovers to a point to get back to that level because it was a joy to watch him play. And it's unfortunate if he doesn't get back to that level because of an injury from the garbage turf from the Kraft family. At 12, I got Jalen Neal, very, very similar. Season-ending injury, didn't get to see out the season, but good amount of U.S. men's national team appearances. What I saw out of that is his ability to read the game, play through the lines, and just be mature above his age, right? He didn't allow the fact that he was playing at the national team to change his game and just have him kick it to be safe, kick it to be safe, kick it to be safe. The longer he spends in the first team and with the national team and all this stuff, the more that he'll grow into this true 34-game center back. I think his ceiling is B team center back for the men's national team right now, which I think is pretty impressive considering how deep we are at that spot to begin with. I think he's a top 8 in his best, in best moments. But again, that's also because we're waiting to see where other people come in. But he's 20 years old. I think if he doesn't go down with a season-ending injury, he plays himself into a place right about here. Ted Pietro, I think, is an absolute snub off of you. 26 appearances, 14 of them off the bench, just under 12 minutes, 1,200 minutes played, 5 goals and 2 assists. And he might have more assists because those assists came from who scored, who don't do second assists. He starts out as a sub. He works his way into the first team to get good minutes. He's going to have a new manager coming out in 2024. I expect him to get massive first team minutes next year. And again, I want to remind people that I'm not making this statement in our preseason predictions. This guy's going to be a 10-10 guy next year.
You just said it. He's
but it's not a jinx until I say
putting up Cade Cowell numbers next season now.
Stop it. And then 10 is Tyus Magno, and I think Tyus Magno's production got hurt a ton because Nick Cushing couldn't figure out where the heck to play this guy. Played him as a 9, and he was absolutely lost up there. Didn't do very well. But once they moved him out to the wing, you can see he was unbelievable. Tons of potential, very good on the ball, great pace. And he sees the game so much better from the wide spots. That potential and the ability to grow from that spot, because now that they have their strikers with Barkar and I think they had somebody else they brought in too. But those guys are going to be the ones that help him become a top 10 winger in the league this year or next year. So 2 goals and 4 assists is a snippet, but I think he's gonna be really, really good next year, and that's why I have him as high as I do, which hurts me because he plays for the baseball team. So
I will tell you that the reason I didn't put Cudi Pietro in my team is
because you don't know ball.
It's just strictly the lack of minutes. I mean, I think his production in the minutes that he got this season was really good. But he's at 1,400 top flight minutes, and he's 21.
How do we go from making an MLS best 11, first team best 11, based off of what it would have looked like if they got minutes, and then go and look at a U22 list where these guys are clearly not getting minutes, and you're like, oh no, it doesn't matter if they're not getting minutes. Do you think
you
about
completely
things?
Lost me? What do you
your entire first team best 11 was players who were like, oh, if you look at their per 90 minutes, they were unbelievable. And now you come here and you're like, oh, they don't have enough minutes played. I mean, I know he did good in the per 90 minutes, but he doesn't have enough minutes for me. Like, how does that become your logic?
Because I think we're looking at his career as a total, as opposed to just one season. And his total career has 1,400 minutes in the top flight right now. Most, basically, like 80 to 90% of which came from this season. And he's 21. He's one of the older players on this list. I mean, there's guys that are 3 years younger than him and have double the minutes of him at the top flight.
I am talking to a wall with zero brain. Zero brain.
What's our next section? What numbers?